The Auburn Tigers looking to get back in this baseball game as we move to the bottom of the first inning with LSU on top 2-0. Here is your lineup for the Auburn Tigers. They come in with a record of 30-20, 11-14 in conference play. Adam Sullivan will lead things off and play right field. At second base, Rob McCrory. First base, Dallin Rook. Left field, Josh Etheridge, a long ball hitter as well. Kirby Clark, a designated hitter. Shad Wandle will be your shortstop, and Casey Dunn, Mark Weeks, and Russell Wittenberg round out the Auburn lineup.
Here are the Tigers defensively. That's one of the best fielding teams in college baseball. Their outfielder had Chad Cooley in left, Mike Kerner in center, Justin Bowles in right. The infield, Nathan Duns at third base, Jason Williams, the shortstop. Casey Kuntz is playing at second. The defensive injury problems there we'll tell you about. Eddie Furness is the first baseman. Tim Lanier behind the plate, and Kevin Shipp gets the start today. The right-hander, 5'11", 190 out of Pride, Louisiana. 2-3 on the year. This is his 11th game, 7th start of the season. Has a 2.08 ERA on the season. He struck out 40 in 47 and 2/3 innings, and he's allowed 19 walks during the time. So he's 2-3 in SEC play and 2-3 overall, and goes out now today against the Auburn Tigers. He's another guy that's been battling some arm problems, so Skip Bertman's been watching him very carefully.
Shipp, tendonitis, moved into the rotation against that Florida team, which is not a team you want to move into a rotation against, but pitched a complete game and lost it 2-1. It's a fine performance in your debut. It's tough to lose one like that.
He's out of Meridian Community College, where he was a JC player for a couple of years and won 20 games, won 20-3 in the 2 years he was there.
Sullivan hits it to second base. Kuntz up with it. Throw to first, and that was a big play for Casey Kuntz, the second baseman for LSU, as he made 3 errors last night. As LSU has had some troubles at second base. Warren Morris, an All-American, a potential starter for the Olympic team, out with a broken bone in his hand. But Kuntz comes up with a big play to get the first out in the bottom of the first.
And then his backup, Trey McClure, is also out as he broke his kneecap. So they have their 2 second basemen out, and now Kuntz has to fill in, and did a nice job there.
Rob McCrory, second baseman, hitting .333 on the year. Other members on the Olympic team off this LSU club, Jason Williams, fouled straight back. That could have been dangerous.
Stirred him up down to the LSU dugout.
Yeah. Other Olympic invitees, Jason Williams, Eddie Yarnell, Warren Morris, all to be playing for, hopefully playing for their head coach, Skip Bertman. And that hit him. Shipp hits Rob McCrory, takes one for the team, and he gets a free trip, though a painful one, down to first base.
Just got away a little bit, runs inside and gets him that part of the bat. And McCrory, who's a tough kid anyway, he's played in every single game for the Tigers this year. Takes it and trots down to first. Don't rub it down. Can't watch anybody see you rub it. He and Josh Etheridge are the only 2 guys in the Auburn team that have played every single game this year. That shows you what kind of problems they've had trying to stay healthy.
Dallin Rook, first baseman, steps in with a .380 average, having a good season with 43 RBI, 17 doubles. There goes McCrory. Throw is high, and he's in there with his 23rd stolen base. He is 23 out of 26 on the season. So right off the bat, Auburn with a runner in scoring position, down by 2.
Picked a pretty good pitch to go on. It was a breaking ball that was away, and so it took a long time for Lanier to unload it, and his throw was off the mark anyway. So McCreary is now 23 of 26 in stolen bases.
High fly ball to center field. Kerner camps out underneath it for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Josh Etheridge. .337. 16 home runs, 73 runs batted in, and 16 doubles, a .696 slugging percentage. An offensive machine. 2 down, runner at second. Etheridge misses. Kevin Shipp, the LSU pitcher, has an array of pitches. A curveball, changeup, fastball. Throws it around mid to upper 80s. Good control. Could throw any pitch at any time. Bourbon likes what he has. There's a play down to first base. Furness makes a nice stab and touches the bag, and that'll do it. So the Tigers leave a runner at second. No runs, no hits. They still trail by 2. Casey Kuntz to lead things off for the LSU Tigers in the top of the second as they have a 2-0 lead. Brian Hepson on the mound for the Auburn Tigers. As you take a look at Kuntz's numbers, 304, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in. Sliced into right field. And that has a problem for Adam Sullivan in the throw to second, and Kuntz will be in there safely. So an error out in right field by Sullivan allows Kuntz to make it all the way to second base on a routine single between first and second.
Well, Auburn's had a problem all season long with errors, and they are on course to set a team record. That time, Adam Sullivan just didn't get in front of the ball, and then he can't come up with it quickly. The throw is offline, and good heads-up running by Kuntz, who almost jammed his foot into second, but he's there. Nobody out, and the Tigers right back at it, knocking on the door.
That'll bring us to the top of the order, and Jason Williams lays down the bunt. A nice bunt. Weeks comes up, throw to first. Not in time. And here comes Kuntz, who went to third, and he'll easily score.
Well, that's got to be another error. I guess they'll give it on the throw from Weeks, but a perfect bunt by Jason Williams. So that'll be I'm guessing a base hit or straight error is what they're going to give it to him. Let's see the bunt play. I think he might have beat this thing out anyway, but Weeks comes up, and you see the ball is in the dirt, and they're going to give the error to Mark Weeks. Run scores. It's right now unearned, but still it's 3-0 LSU.
95 errors now for Auburn on the season. Breaking pitch by Hepson down in the dirt. Williams at first base. Back-to-back errors allow Kuntz to come all the way around and score on what should have been a routine single. And Auburn now trailing 3-0.
The school record for Auburn for errors is 101, and now they're at 95, so they got a pretty good chance of setting that. Hal Baird hopes they don't do it today, however. It could really be a long day.
Kerner struck out his first time, but that was against Ryan Halla, who was out of the baseball game with a sore arm. Couldn't get out of the first. Go back to first.
It is a great sunbathing day here on the Plains. Really, I guess one of the first ones, good ones of the spring, and they've come out in droves today. Watching baseball, working on the tan a little bit.
Fouled back over the Auburn dugout and into some of those sunbathers.
See the terrace down the left field line. That's where you probably get the best tan out there. You can do anything you want to out there with a blanket or a chaise lounge or anything you want. Just get comfortable and spread out, watch some ball.
2-1 on Kerner. 2 costly errors by Auburn in this inning. There's the breaking pitch in the dirt. And that'll send Williams to second base. As Dunn couldn't handle that breaking pitch, which just snapped off a good foot in front of the plate. Fifth wild pitch on the year for Hepson. And Kerner will take a walk. Or a trot, should say, down to first base. And that'll bring up Nathan Dunn from Pell City, Alabama. Leads the SEC in runs scored with 72 and in slugging percentage at 786. Fastball upstairs. This LSU team has just got weapon after weapon after weapon. It is an amazing lineup. Swing and a miss. Count even at 1-1.
Well, Hal Baird was talking before the game. He hopes his team can finish strong. Their chances of getting to the regional, he understands it's the chances are very slim right now, but he'd like to have a couple of wins. He hopes his team will just keep battling a little bit, and they've just not playing with a lot of confidence right now, it doesn't look like.
Hepson fastball right underneath the chin of Nathan Dunn.
There's Hal Baird, one of the nice guys in this business, and has done a terrific job here at Auburn.
Out straight back.
You know, the number of guys they lost off last year's team, and some of the big name players that they tried to replace. Mark Bellhorn, who's now in Double-A with Huntsville, and Jay Wagner was a great player. Kevin Humphreys and Chris Morrison off that pitching staff. They lost some big name guys, and then the loss of Halla, their go-to guy this year. It's just been a very difficult year to patchwork this thing together, and it just hadn't worked at times.
There's a shot to short. Wandel, a nice play, but can't get the runner at second, and that will load him up.
That was a hot shot, but I think if you ask Chad, he will tell you that he should have handled that one. And that's going to be another error. So that'll be the third error of the inning. You see him knock it down, and then by the time he throws to second, they've got no play. So 3 errors in the inning. Now the bases are loaded for the guy you don't want to have them loaded for, Eddie Furness.
Furness 400 with the bases loaded this season. Leads the SEC with 20 home runs. Fastball catches the inside part of the plate. There are your RBI leaders in the conference, and there's the man at the plate, Eddie Furness, leading everybody with 80.
Attack on the 2 he got in the first inning, so he's now up to 82. With a chance to add even more to that total right now.
If he gets hot, 100 wouldn't be out of the question. Fastball inside. Hepson going inside with back-to-back pitches on Furness.
Second time he's throwing a little chin music. First one was the Nathan Dunn, and this time to Furness. What I've seen of this LSU hitters, though, they're not intimidated very easily.
Inside again.
You know, we mentioned Chad Wandel, who didn't come up with that play just a moment ago. He is playing with a knee brace, so he's been bothered by a knee problem. That's really hurt his mobility. And I think maybe if he's 100%, he probably makes that play pretty easily, but just seemed to slow him down just a little bit on his reaction time.
Outside, count now 3-1. Hepson in a bit of trouble here with the bases juiced and down in the count to Furness. As you take a look at the runners, Williams at third, Kerner at second, and Dunn over at first. 3 errors have been costly to Auburn in this inning, and we are only in the top of the second. Out of play. Nice run for Mark Weeks down there. That'll get the sweat going.
See Timmy Hudson up, just getting loose. Again, the plan was to throw Hepson for 3 innings or so, and then try and get Hudson to finish things up. But with Halley going out in the first, and now Hepson struggling here in the second, the plan might be shifted even more.
Furness homered 9 times in a 9-game span in March. He fouls that one back.
He didn't get cheated, does he?
No.
He does not get cheated.
He swings a lot like Ryan Klesko. Braves took one on the chin last night.
Well, they did. Maddox got cuffed about, didn't he?
Grand slam in the top of the 9th inning.
Furness was the National Player of the Week earlier this year, back in March. He's been on a couple of tears and trying to finish the season on a tear.
And the walk will bring home a run. Williams comes around to score, and Furness is over to first, and the rotation of runners has begun, and here comes Coach Hal Baird.
Slow walk to the mound. Again, Hudson just started to loosen it up a moment ago, so I'm not sure he's quite ready. That's another RBI for Furness, though. That's 3 on the day, and gives him 83, which still leads the SEC. You know, talking to Hal before the game, I spent some time in his office, and I think he's more disappointed for the Auburn fans, really, and of course the players and the team, but with the new stadium and all the excitement, and the stadium's been so much anticipated, that he was hoping to have a really outstanding club in here, and this team is good. Of course, LSU has made a lot of clubs look bad this year, but Hal was hoping to have a very competitive weekend series with LSU, and so far his team has just struggled again today. When you don't hit much and you don't field very well, it's not a very good combination, and that's the thing that has really plagued Auburn all year long.
Hepson still out there. Pitching to Brad Wilson, who walked. There's a shot past second base. That'll score at least 2. Here comes Kerner. Dunn will stop as quickly the throw into home, so only 1 run will score. Bases still loaded, and LSU now leading 5-0. So a hard hit single by Brad Wilson as he gets his 33rd RBI on the year.
Looked like he was looking first ball fastball and got it, ripped it into right field. Adam Sullivan makes a nice play this time and came up throwing, and that's going to hold the runner at third base, but the bases are still loaded. RBI single by Wilson. And now Chad Cooley, a guy who's got 12 home runs, steps in.
5-0 on 4 hits. As you see, those 3 errors by Auburn have been devastating. Cooley, a strikeout victim, caught looking in the first. That's in there for a strike. 0-2. Nobody out here in the top of the 2nd inning. The old 4-6-3 double play wouldn't be a bad thing if you're an Auburn fan about now. Curveball outside. Natives getting restless. And a nice breaking pitch. Gets Cooley, who strikes out now for the 2nd consecutive time and the first out of the inning.
Set him up pretty well with this one. They call that the Laredo pitch. That's from down south right there, and that's what Hepson got him. 2nd strikeout on the day for Hepson. 3rd strikeout of LSU hitters. Chad Cooley has struck out twice, and now Justin Bowles becomes the 8th batter this inning, and still only 1 out.
Bowles walked in the first. Change up a little bit upstairs. Fouled straight back. You take a look at the LSU runners. Dunn over at 3rd, Furness at 2nd. Brad Wilson, who singled in a run moments ago, at 1st. Bowles 400 average with the bases loaded this season. The 1-1 breaking pitch inside. Bowles had a great game back on April 12th. He hit 2 home runs, collected 5 RBIs against Ole Miss. Also homered twice versus Alabama back on April 28th, driving in 4. Fastball upstairs. There's Skip Bertman enjoying things so far with his team leading 5-0.
He was fun to talk to before the game as well, talking about the Olympics and how you would think he'd be all frazzled over making. He said, "No, so just wait till the team shows up. The invitees show up in Millington, Tennessee in a couple weeks, and pick the team and head to Atlanta."
Fastball right past Justin Bowles. They said, I asked him, I said, "You been doing much for the Olympics?" And he says, "No, you know, every of my coaches and players are all in the middle of their season. Can't do much. I just get on the phone every Monday, touch base with some folks." And Hepson on the inside part of the plate gets Bowles looking for the second out of the top of the second.
Again, working the inside edge this time. It worked him outside, 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 then busts him inside. Perfect spot. Bowles can't pull the trigger. Back-to-back strikeouts. Now the 3rd strikeout of the day for Hepson. And now he tries to end the inning with Tim Lanier. Lanier ended the 1st inning when he hit a fly ball to left. He's the 9th man to hit this inning.
Top of the 2nd inning, Dave Neal and Bob Kesseling from the new Plainsman Park, as there's a fly ball hit to center, and Wittenberg ought to have a nice beat on that, and he does, and that ends the inning, but not before. LSU able to get 3 more. They now lead Auburn 5-0 back for the bottom of the 2nd right after this. Accommodations for this broadcast were provided by the Quality Inn University Center, conveniently located to Auburn University, owned and operated by Auburn alumni. The Quality Inn has been completely renovated and is now part of the Choice Hotels International. So if you're looking for a first-class facility to hold your next meeting, large or small, the Quality Inn at University Center will fit the bill. To make your reservations, call 1-800-228-5151. As we move to the bottom of the 2nd inning, LSU on top of Auburn 5-0. Kevin Shipp on the mound for LSU. Gave up a leadoff single to Adam Sullivan, who was stranded at 2nd. That was the only hit. Excuse me, Rob McCrory was hit by a pitch in the top of the 1st inning. He was stranded at 2nd base. But that was it in the 1st inning. Fouled off. Kirby Clark, 264 on the year. And a strikeout victim. His first time at the plate is Kirby Clark, your designated hitter, and he will take a seat as Shipp gets his first strikeout.
That Shipp looks sharp. That's just a fastball. Just trying to hit it. Clark couldn't catch up to it.
Chad Wandel, 273. LSU 5 runs on 4 hits. Auburn 3 big errors defensively. Kevin Shipp again suffered from tendonitis in that throwing shoulder earlier this season. Looks good with that breaking pitch in for a strike. 2-2. Shipp has had 6 starts. This is his 7th. And has 3 complete games and an ERA of 2.08. He certainly has quality outings every time he takes to the hill. The 3-2 bounce to short. Williams with a nice play over to Furness. Well done by Jason Williams, the senior from Gonzales, Louisiana.
Good hands here. Comes up, lets it fly. One shortstop throws out the other for the second out here in the 2nd.
That'll bring up your catcher, Casey Dunn. Freshman from Birmingham, Alabama. There's a fly ball to center field. Kerner easily grabs that, and very quickly the Auburn Tigers set down 1, 2, 3. LSU will try to build on their 5-0 lead. When we return, there is Jordan-Hare Stadium, home of the Auburn Tiger football team. And well, we're inside the new Plainsman Park for a little Southeastern Conference baseball as LSU is beating Auburn 5-0 here as we move to the top of the 3rd inning. Second baseman Casey Kuntz to lead things off. He singled back in the 2nd. Kuntz, of course, getting a start of recent games due to some injuries to some second basemen, including Warren Morris, an All-American, and of course the man who we could see a lot of during the Olympics. He would more than likely anchor the second base spot for Skip Burton's Olympic team. Fastball upstairs. Auburn having some trouble defensively with 3 errors. LSU has already left 6 runners on base. They ended the first with the bases loaded, into the second with the bases loaded as that's fouled back out of play. So in a way, Auburn almost fortunate to only be down 5-0. Casey Kuntz, second baseman, sophomore. You know, in his first career SEC start last Friday versus Alabama, he delivered the game-winning home run. A 2-run shot in the 7th, which broke a 6-6 tie and lifted LSU to a thrilling and unbelievable 8-6 win over the Crimson Tide. Fastball upstairs now. 3-2. Hit to right field. Sullivan easily makes the play. So Kuntz is retired. Good start to the top of the 3rd for Auburn and Brian Hepson. And that brings up your leadoff hitter, Jason Williams, a shortstop, and a nice defensive play. Last inning, 343 on the year. Single reached on an error. Has 307 career hits and only needs 4 more to pass Todd Walker as the Tigers' all-time leading hitter. Walker, 310 in his career. Breaking pitch in there for a strike. And an 18-game hitting streak earlier this season, longest of the year for LSU.
Hepson looks like he settled down a little bit, got some of the jitters. I can see where this LSU lineup could get you a little bit unnerved if you look down at the stat sheet at him.
Fastball inside, and that caught some of the jersey. So Williams is hit by a pitch and will trot down to first base.
I'm not sure he got a whole lot of flesh, but did get jersey. And just enough to get him to first base. So now Jason Williams has been on 3 straight times, a base hit, on through an error, and now hit by a pitch.
And he scored 2 runs as well, has Jason Williams. And Mike Kerner, your center fielder, steps in, struck out in the first, walked in the second.
You know, Dave, one of the problems with a game that's going like this, and we talked about the 3 errors last inning, when your fielders are standing around as much as the Auburn fielders are, it's really tough to stay on your toes and not make any excuses for them. But you'd rather have guys that come out there and pitch quickly and get things moving, and there's been a lot of standing around.
Hit to short. Wandel has troubles with it, but still gets the out at second base. But there's your point right there.
Well, that was hit right on the button, too. Wandle knocks it down. Luckily, he's got time to still make a play as Jason Williams didn't get a great break from first base. So now there are 2 outs and 1 on for the middle of this LSU order.
Last night, Auburn pitching had 8 walks against LSU. Even walked in a couple of runs in the 8th inning last night. Runner heads for second. He's in there safely. Kerner with a stolen base.
Kerner got a terrific jump, and really Dunn didn't have a whole lot of chance to throw him out. Kerner's had a terrific season stealing bases. That's his 19th swipe in 20 attempts, and he had that one stolen easily.
Runner in scoring position with 2 down. Al Baird is pretty honest when he says that he's not real happy with the way the pitching has gone of late. He likes to use a guy 4 or 5 innings and maybe save him for the Sunday game of a series. So a lot of his pitchers don't get the kind of innings that LSU starters might get. But, you know, it's just when you face a team like LSU, you know, averaging over 8 runs a game.
Well, Hal Baird had made the comment today that this is the most impressive LSU team he's seen. And Skip Bertman at times has said also this is one of his best LSU teams. I think Casey Dunn on the pitch before was crossed up and kind of said something to Hepson. And that time he threw the fastball right through.
Two and one, 2 down.
You look at Dunn getting the sign over from the bench to what he's going to throw here, 2-1.
Fouled back out of play and out of the stadium for that matter. One other SEC game today going on right now. Mississippi State trying to rebound from a loss last night to Ole Miss, and right now they're leading 2-0 in the 5th inning. And other games coming up later tonight in the SEC. But Ole Miss and Mississippi State, a great baseball rivalry taking place at Dudy Noble Stadium, one of the more enjoyable places to watch a college baseball game.
You think they got that barbecue cranked up today out there?
My goodness. Swing and a miss. Hepson strikes out Dunn. So for the first time today, LSU held scoreless, but they still lead Auburn by 5. Moving to the bottom of the 3rd inning, Auburn looking for their first hit. Matter of fact, their only base runner was Rob McCrory back in the 1st when he was hit by a pitch. And Mark Weeks, your 3rd baseman, to lead things off, batting in the 8 hole, 282, 2 homers, 17 RBIs on the season.
Dave, one thing to watch about Kevin Shipp, makes the pitch, wants the ball back, gets right back on the rubber. He is the quickest working guy on the LSU staff. Watch him. Got the ball. He's up on the. He's ready to go right now.
Not a problem there.
No.
Not after a 35-minute top half of the 1st. There's a line drive right back up the gut. So Weeks on with a single. And the Tigers have their first hit of the afternoon.
So Mark Weeks just waits on the curveball and goes with it. Hits it past Casey Kuntz into right center field. The first knock of the day for the Auburn Tigers. And now the number 9 hitter, Russell Wittenberg, steps up. Hometown guy from right here in Auburn, Alabama.
Wittenberg hitting .221. Started Auburn's last 11 games. Here's a play down the first base line, hit foul. Wittenberg, a 5'8" senior. The 0-2 upstairs. You see Weeks at first base. Gibbs pitch. Outside, count even at 2-2. Wittenberg hit his first career triple last Friday against Ole Miss.
That's out in right center field. You can see it right by the hitting background. I wonder what kind of ticket you got to get on that big party van out there.
Wittenberg hits it to second. 4, 6, 3, double play. Well done by Casey Kuntz and Jason Williams. And just as quick as Auburn able to get a base runner on there, hit into a double play.
Look how Williams turns that. So quick. Pretty good defense right there. That's what you expect from this LSU team that, again, has been leading the SEC in defense all season long and showed it one of the reasons right there. And remember, that's basically the third second baseman they've used.
Here's Williams again. This time mishandles it. Strong arm. Still able to get the runner as Adam Sullivan is retired, as are the Auburn Tigers. Jason Williams, an Olympic shortstop, had a little bit of a problem, but not much. And his Tigers aren't having much of a problem either. They lead by 5. Welcome back to the campus of Auburn University in the new Plainsman Park here on their campus. A beautiful facility. As right now they got a good crowd on hand as the Tigers are trailing the LSU Tigers 5-zip, and pretty much what we don't want to say expected, but the LSU bats are been pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, Auburn knew it was going to play a great game today to hang with these LSU Tigers. Eddie Furness now steps in to lead things off in the 4th inning for LSU. He's got 3 RBIs on the day. Doubled in a couple in the first, then he walked to the bases loaded in the second. Came into the game hitting .378. And the pitch to him is outside. Earlier, Tim Hudson was up warming up for the Auburn Tigers. He has since sat down, and so Hepson's going to go for as long as he can go here, maybe. Furness takes a strike, and it's 2-1. Brad Wilson bats next, then Chad Cooley. Not many soft touches in this LSU lineup. There's a rope into left center field. That's a base hit. So both of Furness's hits have been into left center field, and he's at first base to lead off the 4th inning.
Hepson now working on his 4th inning. Of course, Ryan Halla started for this Auburn team, but had some arm problems and couldn't get out of the 1st inning. And had to take a seat in his last pitching performance here at Plainsman Park.
Brad Wilson steps up. He's also got a perfect day going. Walked in the first, RBI single in the second. And LSU now has 5 hits on the afternoon. That one skips right through Wilson. And that's 1 ball and no strikes. Also, you know, we talked about the stadium here, Plainsman's Park. Also, we need to compliment the grounds crew because they had heavy construction in here right until the start of the season. And so the fact that there's a very nice playing surface here is a compliment to them. And they've had to reseed and re-sow all the grass and the foul territory. There's a bouncing ball, base hit to right field. Furness makes the turn. He'll stop at second. The first 2 Tigers have reached here in the 4th inning. And now we'll see if that gets some stirring up in the Auburn bullpen.
Well, Wilson now on a 15-game hitting streak for LSU. Pitch was inside, a little bit low, turned on it nicely, and got it between first and second. And he's 2 for 2 today.
Here's Chad Cooley stepping in. He's 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Had a big home run last night, a 3-run shot. His only hit of the night, though, so in the series, he's 1 for 7 now.
Tim Hudson making his way down to the Auburn bullpen once again.
There's that Laredo pitch again for a strike.
There is Mr. Hudson, a 4-2 record on the year.
LSU has had base runners everywhere. They've left 7 on base already, and they got 2 more on here in the 4th.
It's amazing it's not even more than 5 runs as they ended the first and second with the bases loaded.
There's a pitch, strike, called 0-2. Haven't seen a whole lot of bunting from this LSU team, except for a one, of course, that resulted in the error when Jason Williams laid one down, a perfect one, but he might have been bunting for a base hit. These Tigers, at least today, have been playing for the big inning. 2 on, nobody out. LSU trying to really blow things open here in the 4th inning. Already leading it 5-0. Pitch is high. 1-2. You get down to this part of the season, too, with Florida playing at South Carolina tonight. If LSU can put a win on the board, then Florida knows it must win to stay in pace for the SEC championship during the regular season. And the Tigers off to a good start here, leading 5-0. That's way outside. Nice play by Casey Dunn to keep that one in front of him. The rap on Hebson has been he could go 3, maybe 4 innings and suddenly kind of run out of gas. And I wonder how much is left in the tank right now. He's really thrown a lot of pitches. As again, Tim Hudson is up in the bullpen for the Auburn Tigers. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on a strikeout. 4th strikeout for Hebson.
Hebson with great location. He's looked very impressive in his strikeouts, making some nice pitches down and away, and there's another one that's down and away, and really not a whole lot you could do with that as a batter.
Some of the Auburn fans now getting cranked up. Maybe they ought to give some of those bats to the Auburn team. Maybe those might work a little better against this LSU pitching staff that's shut them down on 1 hit so far. Justin Bowles steps in. He also struck out.
Last night, just 4 hits for Auburn.
Fly ball, that won't get it done, into right field. Sullivan coming over. Now the center fielder calls him off and makes the play. Wittenberg. Oh, he dropped the ball, bringing it out of his glove, but they give him the catch. And then tagging on the play and moving to third base is Eddie Furness. That was almost disastrous, as Wittenberg brought the ball out of his glove and then dropped it.
Already had 1 error out in right field today, but just trying to make the throw to third. No harm done, but could have been dangerous had that been a runner at third. Would have easily scored.
Yeah, I think what Wittenberg did, he looked up to see Furness tagging, and so he wanted to make that quick throw. He just dropped the ball. So Tim Lanier, who's 0 for 2. He has come up twice with the bases loaded. And has hit fly balls both times. Now he's got another runner in scoring position at third with 2 outs. And Lanier takes a strike. Tim was 2 for 4 last night in an RBI. Gives him 22 now on the season. Local kid out of Baton Rouge, captain of the Tigers this year. And has really been a leader since he stepped on the LSU campus. You see your 2 runners, Furness and Wilson. LSU trying to tack on more here, leading 5-0. Right back to the mound. Hebson gloves it and is out of trouble. LSU leaves 2 more runners on base. That's 9 through the first 4 innings. We go to the bottom of the 4th, and it's still LSU 5, Auburn nothing.
Sometimes there's magic in a melody. Certain music just touches the heart. Now, Instrumental Gold. 40 original hits by the original artists. This is music made for dancing and romancing. in one collection are the greatest all-time instrumental hits. Instrumental Gold on 3 cassettes or 2 compact discs. Here's how to order.
Have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-533-1400. That's 1-800-533-1400 to order Instrumental Gold. Only $19.95 for 3 cassettes or $24.95 for 2 compact discs. Order now, 1-800-533-1400.
The SEC is now online. You can check game schedules, statistics, stadium diagrams, and order merchandise. You can even hear your favorite school's fight song. The SEC World Wide Web page is located at www.sec.org. That's the SEC online. Bob Kessling, Dave Neal with you today from Auburn, Alabama, where it's been all LSU. As Auburn now comes up for its swings here in the 4th inning, Rob McCrory will step in to face Kevin Shipp, the quick working Shipp, as McCrory had to ask for time because Shipp was ready to deliver the 1-0 right to the shortstop. Williams, he's smooth out there, isn't he?
Makes it look so easy. He had some great plays last night, going to his right a couple of times. Just take a look at his hands. He's just plays that baseball nicely. Doesn't get any kind of hurry. Easy. Makes it look so easy.
Yep. He's got 4 putouts today, so he's been active. 1 down in the 4th. Dalen Rook steps up. He's had a great career. He's been a hitter since he stepped on the campus here. Fouls it off his foot. Freshman year at 331, then 297, and now 381 this year. Senior out of Tallahassee.
There's some hustle right there.
Look at that. That's roped to right field. That's a base hit. Bowles will play it back in on a hop. And Auburn has its 2nd hit of the day.
Rook with a nice piece of hitting there. He flew out his first time up. This time he gets the better of Shipp. Breaking pitch just hung up nicely. And Auburn's got their 2nd hit of the afternoon.
LSU's out hit him 6-2. Josh Etheridge steps in. Sophomore out of Braden, Florida. Bounced to the first baseman unassisted his first time up and takes a pitch for a strike, a breaking ball. See if Shipp slows down a little bit with the runner on base. Missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Big day for the Auburn baseball team. A lot of their lettermen are back in town. And also they're honoring the 1976 College World Series team here. There's a fly ball out of play. Led by a couple of former big league pitchers, Joe Beckwith and Terry Leach. In fact, Terry was out throughout the first pitch today. Got it up there with pretty good zip on it now.
Looked like it could still suit up.
Yeah. In fact, he cheated a little bit. He was out warming up with the Auburn catchers before the game, so he wanted to make sure he could get it to the plate, hump it up a little bit. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, Bob, it was this time a year ago today that Auburn was ranked #1 in the polls.
Yeah.
How times have changed over the last 365 days.
That's right. They won 50 games last year, did the Tigers. Pitch bounces up there. They've won 40 games 3 straight years here at Auburn. They've got to kind of really finish strong to reach that mark this year. They have 30 wins on the year, with this weekend and then next week, and then off to the tournament if the Tigers make it that far. But they're in a precarious situation because right now Auburn's 11-14. Remember, 8 teams make it. So you figure that LSU, Auburn, or LSU, Alabama, and Mississippi State are locks in the West. Arkansas is 13-12. Then comes Auburn 11-14. And then you go over to the East. Florida is in at 17-8. Then comes Tennessee 14-11. South Carolina 13-12. Then Kentucky, Vanderbilt are coming up from there. So it might be a battle between Auburn, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt for one of those spots. Bouncing ball to third. And the play is made by Dunn. On the play, though, the runner moving, and Rook moves up to second base. He'll be there with 2 outs. And Kirby Clark comes in. DH today, struck out his first time up. So Auburn will need a 2-out hit to get on the scoreboard here, trailing in the game 5-0 in the 4th. That's one thing this Auburn program has missed this year. And you go back even to the days of Bo Jackson and Frank Thomas, they've always had that one guy that can deliver for you in this clutch situation. And of course, it was Jay Wagner there for a while. Sean McNally, Bellhorn the last couple of years. But this year, yeah, send money and a couple hits right now would be nice, wouldn't it? There's a bouncing ball to the first baseman. Played nicely by Furness, and the inning is over. Kevin Shipp allows a hit, but he leaves him at second base. Inning is over. No runs, 1 hit. 1 left. First, second base runner left on today by Auburn. 5-0 Tigers. This is the Opalapa Derby today, not the Kentucky Derby, as the Tigers making a run for it. You had your choice of which one you wanted, the red, blue, the orange tiger, or the happy face. And the blue one makes a strong run, and down the stretch they come, and the blue one wins it.
That was my horse, or
you
tiger.
Took the blue one?
Yeah. You can pay me later.
I figured as much.
Larry Conley told me to take the blue one.
I tell you what, he can pick him now, can he?
Larry did a lot of research for the Derby the past few weeks.
No question. Casey Kuntz leading things off here for the LSU Tigers. LSU in front 5-0. Mentioned his home run that he hit against Alabama to win a game in his first start. That was a big hit because Alabama had taken 2 of the 3 games in that set, and the Casey Kuntz home run was enabling the Tigers to escape with 1 victory in that set. Alabama, of course, 15-10. They've had an excellent year. Casey out of Metairie, Louisiana. Today is his 9th start of the season and his 27th appearance overall. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the LSU leadoff hitter here in the 5th. That's a foul ball toward our camera guys. You got to make a play on that ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
At least give me an effort.
Yeah, well.
Lock that camera down and get out there.
Casey's got a base hit to his credit today. Scored a run. Strike 3 call.
Breaking pitch by Hepson, who has certainly turned it around from when he came on back in the first inning. This breaking pitch has kept these LSU hitters off balance. And Kuntz just baffled by the pitch.
You know, it's not like LSU has knocked the fences down today. They've got 6 hits, but it's been some errors and some walks that have really hurt the Auburn team. Top of the order now, Jason Williams stepping in from Gonzales, Louisiana. But has been on 3 straight times, a base hit, on through an error, hit by a pitch. If he could get a double, triple, and a home run the rest of the way, he'll hit for the cycle the hard way. Just about every possible way he could get on. 2 balls, no strikes.
The Auburn team ERA is nearly 2 runs higher in SEC games, 6.71 in conference play, 4.76 overall. That conference ERA 7th in the league.
Strike is called, breaking ball. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Tim Hudson's been up twice throwing in the bullpen. He's sat down now, as they're going to try and get as many innings as they can out of Hepson. There's a pop-up foul out of play, and that'll drift back up it in the seats.
No runs on 2 hits for this Auburn Tiger team, and 3 critical errors. Meanwhile, LSU 5-6-0.
Jason Williams. Has 307 career hits. Takes the pitch outside. LSU leader in the department is Todd Walker at 310. So Jason's closing in on that mark. Full count now. And there's a fly ball left center field, pretty well hit. And that's going to be over the head of Josh Etheridge. Coasting into second base will be Jason Williams. And now that's hit number 308, 2 away from Todd Walker. And now there's a one-out base runner for LSU.
The 12th double on the year for Jason Williams, who continues to pound the baseball. As the fastball rode inside, Williams just drove it into left field. Not a lot there that Etheridge or Wittenberg could do about it, as it hit the gap in left center field, and a stand-up double. And LSU in business.
You know, it hit that interesting angle out there, because that's where the green monster comes to 335 and then suddenly juts back to 385. So that's a little bit of a home field advantage for Auburn, and that time the outfielders played it very well. Mike Kerner up now. 0 for 2 on the day. There you see it. The green monster then just juts straight back, and the ball can rattle around out there.
That's a great look at it. That wall is about 30 feet high.
And I kind of like the fact that it's not just a symmetrical ballpark. It's got a little its own personality to it. Mississippi State now is leading Ole Miss as the Rebels have scored 2-1 in the 7th. That's the only SEC game going on other than this one. Other action starts at 6 o'clock, and then a couple of games later around 7. Way outside, 1-1.
We will have Mississippi State traveling to Baton Rouge to take on LSU next Saturday.
The box will be jumping next week.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a great place.
I forget the exact attendance figure, but it's 110,000 or so went through the turnstiles this past weekend over in Baton Rouge to watch a 3-game set.
Runner goes, pitch hit to first, making the play will be Root, and the runner moves up to third base. Williams moves up on the ground ball out as LSU plays a little hit and run. And so now Nathan Dunn steps in. Nathan's 0 for 2 on the day. He walked his first time up on through an error, and then he struck out. Yeah, I'm sure they'll have 7,000 plus in there for every game next weekend, as the Tigers are going to set all kinds of attendance records this year. I think almost every one of their home series has been either sold out or close to it. I know they had a record-breaking weekend when Tennessee came to town, and a lot of it has to do with Skip Bertman, who now is in his 13th season with LSU. He's led him to 10 straight NCAA tournament appearances and 2 World Series championships in '93 and 1991. And he has really been a terrific salesman for not only LSU baseball, but for college baseball in general. Dunn swings through a pitch. It's now no balls and 2 strikes. Dunn's out of Pell City, Alabama, so he's kind of coming home for the weekend. Five RBIs in a game this year against New Orleans, including a grand slam in that one. And he bloops that one to right field. Sullivan coming on, got a late break. Now comes on and makes the catch, and the inning is over. But the Tigers leave 2 more on. That's 11 now for the game. As we move on to the bottom of the 6th, still 5-0 LSU. Well, Tiger fans having fun being outside today, but the Auburn Tigers haven't done a whole lot here against LSU, trailing 5-0. Next week, we'll see the LSU Tigers again as they host Mississippi State from Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge. 3 o'clock is the start time. Check for the game in your area again, and you look at the SEC West standings, shows you how important all these games are, but especially the next weekend series could be for the SEC West, as LSU on top. And there's Mississippi State just 2 games back, and State, like LSU, winning today. Auburn trying to do something about this 5-0 deficit. And again, the quick working Kevin Shipp going to work on Chad Wandel, the shortstop.
You mentioned how big these games are for LSU. They're big for Auburn as well trying to get into the top 8 spots that will play in the SEC tournament over at Hoover Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama, which, by the way, is one of the great minor league parks around.
That didn't take long. Wanda waves at 3 of them, and he's down on strikes. First out of the 5th, and it brings up Casey Dunn, the catcher.
Great location from Kevin Shipp, who's not afraid to throw any pitch in a situation. He doesn't have what they call the out pitch. He considers all 3 of his pitches an out pitch, and that was a nice breaking ball there.
Well, now this inning, Shipp throwing nothing but strikes. Dunn 0 for 1 at a fly ball to center. Now hits a fly ball to right. Bowles under it, makes the catch. Too quickly gone here in the 5th. And Mark Weeks will step up. Well, Shipp's around the plate. So if you see one you like, you might as well hack at it, because he doesn't do a lot of nibbling.
He's rares back and throws at 3 complete games in 6 starts.
I mean, you look at how quickly he's back. Within 5 seconds, he's ready to go again. 2-0.
The broadcast, not a lot of downtime there. What do you say?
Weeks got a base hit. In fact, he had the first hit of the game for the Tigers. That was back in the 3rd. Auburn's only had 2 this afternoon. Bouncing ball to short. Williams gets another chance. Makes it flawlessly, and that's a 1-2-3 inning. Auburn goes up and down in order quickly here in the 5th inning. We move on to the 6th. LSU in control, leading Auburn 5-0. Day. We move on to the 6th inning here. There's a young cheerleader.
Not a lot to cheer about today, though.
Not so far. Eddie Furness stepping up to lead things off for the 6th inning for the Tigers, and he takes a pitch for a ball low. You know, when I came here earlier this morning and saw the LSU campers across the street, they're out there doing a little tailgating. That's a big tradition, of course, in Baton Rouge. You'll see that next week. They tailgate all weekend down there for LSU games. They brought it with them this year. Road trip up here at Auburn.
LSU set a new school regular season home attendance record. 127,000 have passed through the turnstiles already, and they still got a few more series to go.
Fly ball got under it just a bit. Wittenberg goes over, calls, and makes the catch in front of the warning track. So Furness is out. First time they've retired him today. And Brad Wilson steps up.
Some good communication out there in the outfield by Wittenberg and Sullivan. Wittenberg able to haul that in. A little bit more wind, and that ball might have left the yard.
It's Wittenberg's call. He's got to make it if he can get it. Brad Wilson steps up. He's had a good day. Been on 3 times, a couple of hits. Drove in a run back in the 2nd, walked in the 1st. He was 2 for 5 last night, so he's got 4 hits in the series already.
Perhaps the most impressive number of all the numbers we look at to get ready for a game is this one. LSU has outscored their opponents 324-92 in the first 5 innings.
Yep. Fly ball. Wittenberg again takes control, and 2 outs in the 6th. And now Chad Cooley stepping in. Cooley has struck out 3 straight times, and you look at him, the fans are getting on him a little bit. They want that golden sombrero. Don't you know that Cooley just wants to put it into play here?
Cooley
had it, dropped it.
Cooley, a senior from Louisiana, and he's been in some hostile territory before, so this isn't uncommon to a veteran.
There those guys right by the Auburn fans right by the on-deck circle. They're giving him the business now.
I bet he didn't get as many swings in the on-deck circle as he probably normally would like.
Struck out 3 straight times. Not this time, though, but he's out. Pops it up to the second baseman, McCrory, who will handle it. And for the first time today, LSU goes up and down in order. We move down to the bottom of the 6th inning now. LSU still leads at 5-0. Bottom of the 6th. And Auburn needs 5 to tie. Bob Kessling along with Dave Neal here from Plainsman Park. Our producer today, Craig Ritchie, and director Tom Smith, and the rest of our Sports South crew. Just a perfect day for baseball. Whitberg, the 5'8" senior, he's played a lot of games here since he's arrived on campus. Takes a strike. 190 games he's played for the Auburn Tigers. In fact, played 52 as a freshman. So he didn't waste a lot of time getting into the swing of things. Now, for the first time today, some activity is going to start up in the LSU bullpen. Ship's on about 100 pitch count. Pitch is a strike. And we haven't been keeping pitches, I don't think. But I bet he's getting close.
Hadn't had much trouble today.
No, he's been cruising. Strike recalled. Wittenberg thought he was on. On the 3-2 pitch, Wittenberg strikes out.
As we talk about Ship maybe slowing down, he comes up with a beautiful slider, catches the outside part of the plate.
I think Lanier might have framed that a little bit for him. But he gets the strikeout. That's what a veteran catcher will do for you. 3 strikeouts now on the day for Kevin Ship. And the key is if you're around the plate and you're throwing quickly, and you're sometimes going to get those calls anyway. Another strike, he just bores it right through there.
Patrick Coogan and Demui warming up for the Auburn Tigers. Chris Demui, a left-handed pitcher. Coogan, a right-handed pitcher.
Pitch is high. Two and one. Pitch is high, 3-1. Hal Baird, not a lot to get excited about today. There's a ball ripped to right field, but not going to carry, and Bowles will make a play. Another 2 outs in the 6th. I tell you what, Kevin Ship has been in complete control of this one.
The Tigers have been shut out. The Auburn Tigers, I should say, have been shut out 4 times in '96. That's the most since 1985.
And there's an easy fly ball to center. Kerner makes the play, and the inning is over. That is 8 in a row now, set down by Kevin Ship as Auburn goes up and down in order. We move to the 7th. LSU still leads by 5. LSU got 2 in the first, 3 in the second. Since then, they haven't been able to dent the plate. Neither has Auburn all day long, as we are 5-0 as we now go to the 7th inning. Bob Kessling along with Dave Neal, and Auburn not out of it, but they need to somehow figure out a way to score some runs against this LSU team.
Well, Kevin Ship has been outstanding for LSU, giving up just 2 hits, and he's been masterful with his breaking pitches. His slider's been catching the outside part of the plate, and it's just been a performance that LSU is accustomed to this year. You don't win 40 games by being lucky. But Hepson has pitched extremely well for the Auburn Tigers as he has come back here after a rocky 1st and 2nd inning to settle down and keep these Tigers off balance. Justin Bowles leading off for the LSU Tigers sends Wittenberg on his horse. just shy of the warning track for the long and noisy out. No harm done. Tim Lanier, 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Reached on an error. Five, 7-0, 0-2-3. LSU with 5 runs. LSU has had a lot of shutouts this year. They're working on their 10th right now of the 1996 campaign.
Hal Baird tell us before the game as well is he's very encouraged about the recruiting class he has, and of course right now that you're always concerned about how many of those high school players that you've signed that might be drafted. But he said if he gets everybody that's already signed on or committed to Auburn, they're going to have an outstanding young team again next year.
Wittenberg calls off Etheridge for the 2nd out of the inning. Yeah, Coach Baird basically was honest when we were talking to him. He said he's been disappointed by some of the seniors on this team in the middle of his order. And when he breaks down individually the talent that he has this year, he likes what he sees, but the problem is getting them to do it between the lines when the games count for real. And a lot of that has to go to inexperience.
Well, and it's also difficult when you don't have a stopper. I mean, a guy that you know is going to go out there every weekend in the SEC and keep you in a game and is going to get you the victory. So when Hallow went down and couldn't pitch, that just juggled everything and really knocked this team for a loop. And yeah, you like to think it's more than there's something else there, but really when you look at their Saturday record in the SEC, and Hal pointed it out, they're 1-8. That tells you right there you just don't have a guy that can go out there and slam the door every weekend, and that's what you need in this league.
And you certainly want the senior leadership on the mound with a very young team. And Hal being a senior, his loss was devastating. And
the Rebels have come back to tie up the Bulldogs in the 8th inning.
Well, you know, last night Ole Miss shocked Mississippi State at Dudy Noble, and well, they're shocking the folks there again. 2-2 in the 8th.
Ole Miss must be getting better. They had a very, very bad start, but now suddenly they've won 5 games in the conference and doing pretty well.
Casey Kuntz singled and scored a run back in the 2nd. Struck out his last time up, looking in the 5th. Herb ball gets away from Casey Dunn. Dunn is a mess back there behind the plate. He's had a long day.
And it's hot, of course, too. So it's when you've had all the cool weather, this is suddenly a little bit of a jolt to the system.
The freshman out of Birmingham, Alabama. The 3-2 on its way with 2 down. Just inside. So Kuntz takes a stroll down the first base on the walk. And it was a very close pitch. Just tailed off down the stretch. Good eye by Casey Kuntz. So with 2 down, runner on first, that brings up Jason Williams. Single, doubled, reached on an error, hit by a pitch, and has had a nice afternoon at short. Breaking pitch sends Casey Dunn once again scrambling behind the plate. Well, he's got some biceps and forearms. Kuntz at first. Fastball on the outside corner, 1-1. Throw back to first. Nearly got Kuntz. Rick Darby says he was in there safely.
Let's see if he got the hand in. He was going, it looked like. And yeah, he got in. Good call. Close, but he got in.
Williams has raised his average 9 points today. Another throwback to first. Started today at 343. He's now up to 349.
And he's been on 4 different ways today. The double, the single, hit by pitch in the air.
Remember that name, folks. Jason Williams. Could see him wearing the red, white, and blue in Atlanta at the Olympic Games this summer, along with his teammate.
You know, Dave, it's amazing to me when you think of it. The first thing you see when you come in the ballpark is the green monster out there. 315 down the line, 335 to the gap, and yet we've had not one single ball hit off there today. Hal Baird said that's been one of the most amazing things about since they installed the green monster here, that a lot of players and a lot of teams really don't try and adjust their game, and you don't see that many balls hit off it. 30 feet high, only 315 down the line. A la Fenway Park. Normally it's 330 or more. It's 331 down the right field line here.
1-2 on Williams. Foul back out of play. There will be some sunburns in Auburn, Alabama today.
I'm telling you what. If we had some suntan lotion concessions here, we would have cleaned up today. I didn't think.
Cooled off a little bit for us. When we started this sucker, I didn't think that we might not make it. A little dehydration. Upstairs. Evens the count at 2-2. Kuntz over at first base with 2 down. As you look at some of the Auburn faithful, getting a nice tan. Skip that spring season, went right to summer. Made for some tough baseball conditions. First part of April. Fouled out of play again. I know Larry Conlon and I had a game in Lexington about a month ago and snowed.
Did it really?
I saw you had Arkansas had some rain, and Tennessee had some rain.
Yep. We talk about Hepson. He came on, of course, in the first inning when Ryan Halla had to leave, and he's been averaging about 5 innings per outing, and now he's working into the 7th inning. So this is his 6th inning of work.
There's the pitch. Kuntz on the run. The throw from Dunn. In time and got him. A nice play by the freshman from Birmingham, Alabama, Casey Dunn. Throws out Casey Kuntz. So no damage done despite the walk, as the freshman from Birmingham throws a perfect strike. Auburn needs to score some runs. They trail by 5.
Like a clinic here, how you throw out a runner. Casey Dunn gets the pitch and then unloads at a perfect strike down to second base. And the tag is made, and that's how you throw out a base runner. Nicely done that time, execution-wise, by the Auburn Tigers. Now the Auburn offense hoping to get something going, as Auburn has collected only 2 hits all day long against Kevin Shipp, who has been outstanding.
Dallin Rook to lead things off for Auburn in the bottom of the 7th inning. Rook 1 for 2 on the day, single back in the 4th. Shipp has been phenomenal, to say the least, today. Never really in any trouble.
Tomorrow, Brett Laxton, another guy, a senior on the pitching staff, who's been battling some arm problems, will get an SEC start. And so Skip Berkman is anxious to see exactly how he responds. And if LSU gets all these guys healthy and ready for the regional, they're going to be tough, tough, tough.
You saw the line moments ago on Shipp. Throwing 67 pitches over 6 innings. Just 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, no runs. Phenomenal. Right back at him. Ship makes the toss over to first, one down.
There's only been 5 balls hit out of the infield today against Kevin Ship. That's how much in control he has been, and all those were just basically easy plays. Action again down in the Auburn bullpen. This time it's Ricky Collins. So Collins will throw. Could be the guy to replace Hebson. They had Tim Hudson up a couple of times. He threw about half a game down there, but didn't get in.
Well, Etheridge is not having his typical day. 0 for 2 at the plate. Upstairs. Ship suffered from tendonitis in his throwing shoulder the early part of the season. Moved in the starting rotation on March 24th, taking on the highly ranked Florida Gators. Threw a complete game, worked 8 1/3 innings, but took the loss 2-1. But did throw a complete game against Ole Miss back on April 13th. There's Williams up the middle, and it's almost like he's lazy out there, but he makes it so routine.
That's key to being a great shortstop too, is just making the routine play time after time after time. He just glides and flips it over to the first baseman, Furness, and that's the out. But he's been a busy guy today, and Williams has made all the plays.
Kirby Clark, your designated hitter. Strikeout victim his first time back in the second inning. Came into the game hitting .264. They say he went around. John Magnuson wasted no time. 0-2 now on Clark. The 0-2 in the dirt. Lanier will throw down to first to Furness, and a strikeout to end the inning. The Auburn bats continue to be silenced by that man, Kevin Ship. Only 2 hits for Auburn. LSU comes up at the top of the 8th when we come back to the Plains. Accommodations for this broadcast were provided by the Quality Inn University Center, located near Auburn University, owned and operated by Auburn alumni. It's been completely renovated and is now part of the Choice Hotels International. So if you're looking for a first-class facility to hold your next meeting, large or small, take the Quality Inn University Center, and they will fit the bill for you. To make your reservations, call 1-800-228-5151. The skyline on the plains of Auburn, Alabama, as Brian Hebson continues to pitch for Auburn as we head to the top of the 8th inning. 5-0 the LSU Tigers, the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers leading the Auburn Tigers.
Of course, there's a lot of discussion within the conference about which SEC teams might be hosting an NCAA regional. You'd have to think that LSU would be a likely candidate. Mississippi State has expressed interest. Tennessee has talked about it. Of course, they've hosted the past couple of regionals.
And Jason Williams is hit by a pitch for the 2nd time today.
Well, he keeps the string alive. 5 straight times he's been on base. Twice, though, he took one for the team as he's plunked by the curveball. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd. Now here again in the 8th inning. And again, LSU has a leadoff man on base, and here comes the meat of that order again.
Jason Williams has reached base 5 times today. Reached on an error back in the 2nd, but singled, hit by a pitch, doubled, hit by a pitch. Busy day for old Jason. Mike Kerner, center fielder, struck out in the 1st. Grounded out his last time to first base in the 5th.
You know, Dave, Hal Baird and I were talking about an interesting aspect of baseball nowadays. It used to be in the old days you get 5, 6, 7 runs up, maybe you wouldn't think about runner or hit and run. And he said nowadays with the big innings and guys, and there's a wild pitch, she'll get the runner up. But with the more of the guys on weight training now and being bigger, stronger, and the 3-run homer being so much more part of the game with the metal bats, it says now you send runners and perhaps steal a little bit more and do things than you would in the past several years. And Hal Baird thinks that isn't quite sure whether it's good or bad for baseball. It's just a fact of the game that no runs and no lead is now ever safe in especially in college baseball.
Give the pass ball to Hepson on that. That sends Williams to second base. Curveball inside. Kerner tried to lay one down to get Williams to third. Not a bad pitch by Hepson in that situation.
Ricky Collins now still throwing down in the Auburn bullpen as Hepson's gone a long way today. He's been in there since the first. Now we're in the 8th.
Throwing about 130 pitches this afternoon. That's a lot of pitches out of the bullpen. Kerner lays the perfect bunt down. Hepson's going to have to hurry, and he does. Nice play by Hepson. But Kerner's bunt does what it was intended to do, and that is get Jason Williams over to third base.
You know how difficult that is with the metal bats and everything to lay down a just deaden it like that. Terrific bunt by Kerner, and a pretty nice play by Hepson getting off the mound and just getting the speedy Tiger base runner. So runner at third with the 1 out, and now here comes Nathan Dunn.
Nathan Dunn flew out in the 5th. Walked and scored back in the first inning. 1 down. Williams at third base.
Tiger infield's come in for Auburn, trying to keep it at a 5-0 game.
Fouled straight back. Hepson once again came on in relief of Ryan Halla in the first inning. As Dunn sends it to right field. Sullivan can't handle it. That will score Williams from third base. And they give, I believe,
that's a base hit.
Yeah, it's got to be a base hit. Said
Sullivan charged it. It was a low line drive, Dyan, and Sullivan came in. I think got a glove on it. Did, just couldn't hang on to it. So it's an RBI single for Dunn, his first hit of the day. 61st RBI, and LSU leads it 6-0. That's their first run, though, since the second inning.
That brings up big Eddie Furness. 2 for 3, walked. There's a fly ball down the left field line. Etheridge making a run for it, but lands into the Auburn bullpen. That's Collins warming up for Auburn. As you look at Eddie Furness, sensational season. Just a sophomore. Came in with 20 home runs, 378 average. Hepson's pitch inside. Evens the count at 1-1 with 1 down. Dunn down at first base. What's been shocking here is the fact that we haven't seen a home run by the LSU Tigers yet today.
That's right. That's a rarity, I'll bet you. They clubbed 4 of them last night.
There's Hal Baird. 594 and 316. 17th year at Auburn. 449 and 250. A couple of great coaches here today to deal with. They're just a joy to talk to.
Yep, two of the best guys in the business. And Hal Baer's the same, win-lose. I mean, he's a straight-up guy. And
SEC very fortunate to have a lot of quality coaches.
And Skip Bertman's the same way. I mean, he'll shoot straight with you.
3-2 to Furness. Bounced off the plate. Hebson will make the play. It's a fair ball and throws down and gets Furness. So 2 down. Dunn moves to second.
Pretty good hustle play by Hebson, trying to get it before it goes foul. You got the option here. Do you let it just kick foul, or do you think you got a chance to make the play? Hebson obviously decides he's got a chance to throw out Furness and does so. And now there are 2 outs in the inning, and the runner moves up. Dunn now at second base. Furness is 2 for 4 on the day. And there is Dunn standing at second base with 2 outs and 1 run in to make it a 6-0 game.
Wilson can go deep as well. He has 8 home runs. You know, LSU has homered in 16 consecutive games, and of course they don't have one today. They still have an inning in the 3rd left. But Hebson has been nothing even remotely close, really. Hebson has done a nice job keeping the balls in the park. Juicy Dunn at second base. LSU last scored back in the 2nd when they picked up a 3 spot. Hebson's pitch is outside. He's approaching 135, 136 pitches, I believe, in that ballpark. I don't think he intended to throw that many pitches today.
No.
Yeah.
Well, they talked about he might go 3, maybe 4. Now he's 7 innings into this thing.
There is the man, Skip Bertman. 13th year at LSU, 616 wins, just 231 losses. In your top 10 among winning active coaches in college baseball. And the man who will head up Team USA at the Olympics in '96.
Starts July 20th, the baseball competition.
Into May, they bring all the invitees in, and then they'll cut it down to 25 toward the end of June, and before they finally make a decision on their top 20 players that will compete for the gold medal in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. There's a fly ball to left field. There's that wall playing havoc on Josh Etheridge, but able to use his right hand to find the wall and get the 3rd out for the Auburn Tigers. But 1 run scores for LSU. They build on their lead. They now lead 6-0 as Josh Etheridge battles the monster. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and as Bob and I have talked about, the dimensions of this field are rather short in left field, 315, but they got that 30-foot high wall, which can cause havoc. This was a routine fly ball off the bat of Brad Wilson, but Josh Etheridge had a heck of a time trying to corral that thing.
You know, the problem is in most ballparks, that's not even to the warning track. And then here you got to maneuver out there, find the wall, make the catch. That was a nice play by Etheridge.
And we have a score update for you in the SEC. Ole Miss and Mississippi State going at it in extra innings. A little free baseball, and you can see the Mississippi State Bulldogs as they travel to Baton Rouge next week to take on this LSU club, ranked 6th in the latest Baseball America poll. Chad Wandel 0 for 2, ground out, strikeout. Shipp looking for the shutout this year. It'll be LSU's 10th if he can get it done. It'll also be his 4th complete game. He's got some work to do as we're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ground ball to second. Casey Kuntz up with it, throws to Furness. One down. Casey Dunn, a couple of flyouts today. Nice job behind the plate, though. He's had to battle a few breaking pitches, especially in the first inning. Ryan Howell was having some arm problems. Couldn't find the plate. 6 runs on 8 hits, no errors for LSU. No runs, 2 hits, and 3 costly errors for the Auburn Tigers. Those errors came back in the second inning. The LSU bullpen continues to work. Demui and Kevin Shipp looking very impressive.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless he's on a pitch count getting close to 100 or whatever the count is. I think this Skip Burton told me it was 100 pitches. Unless he's getting close to that, you would think you'd just let him roll back out there.
Ground ball to short. Williams. I'm just not going to say his name anymore.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very, very good. You know, there are a couple of pretty good shortstops in this league, and Aguilera at Tennessee is one of those, a guy that they penciled in to be on the Olympic team as well. But Jason Williams has been very impressive today.
That brings up Mark Weeks. Singled and grounded out. Weeks out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Breaking pitch by Shipp. Two down.
13 in a row now he's retired, so there's no sign of his slowing down. The last Auburn base runner was in the 4th inning when Dallin Rue got a base hit. 4th inning, and since then it has been all Kevin Shipp.
Ground ball right to the mound. Shipp's 95th pitch isn't out and retires the side in order. Auburn with just 2 hits on the afternoon, and they trail the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers by 6.
These folks need the money from Mom so they can make more banners. They spent a lot of time on that one. We appreciate it. A Sports South banner with the Auburn motif. And this takes you inside Plainsman's Park here in the loveliest village on the plains. Today, though, it's LSU, a team that's been able to dominate Auburn. New pitcher on now for the Tigers, the 3rd of the day. Ricky Collins, a junior out of Stockbridge, Georgia. Right-hander, 6'1", 213, now on to try and get LSU out here in the 9th inning. See his numbers, 47 innings. He's allowed 54 hits, 40 runs.
Opposition hitting .287 against Collins. JUCO transfer, worked out of the bullpen and has been in the starting rotation a time or two.
But the Auburn fans again giving it to Cooley. He struck out his first 3 times up, popped out to second his last time up, and they're still rooting for the golden sombrero here.
Close, but not close enough for home plate umpire Tony Manners. 1-1 on Cooley. 3 strikeouts for Cooley today. That's in there for a strike. 1-2. And if he goes down and strikes here, he will hear some noise.
They're ready for him. Rather by the LSU dugout.
There it is. Struck him out looking. Those guys have been in the sun a long time. Watch this, the great piece of pitching.
He won't look up. Collins freezes him right there on the outside corner. 4th time Chad Cooley has struck out. 0 for 5 on the day.
You know, Cooley came in hitting .349.
Yeah.
It's not like
he's a great hitter. Great hitter. Just you have some of those days. Baseball at times can be a very humbling experience.
So can broadcasting for that.
No question. We exhibited that today, didn't we?
Justin Bowles, 0 for 3. Nothing LSU with the lead over Auburn. In there for a pitch. Collins looks impressive here in his opening inning of work. Once again, Mississippi State Ole Miss in extra innings tied 2 apiece in Starkville. Other SEC action coming up later on this evening.
LSU, of course, if they can hang on and win this game, which they're leading 6-0 now, they'll have all week to get ready for the Mississippi State series, which is next Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Baton Rouge.
Another strikeout for Ricky Collins, the junior from Stockbridge, Georgia, on the mark today.
And again, Collins has come out and got back-to-back punch-outs. That looked like a forkball there. Dropped off the table. That's 9 strikeouts for Auburn pitching today.
Picked up his first victory of his career in relief over Kentucky. Pitched 6 innings in that win.
Collins looks strong, throwing strikes.
Tim Lanier 0 for 4. You know, this will be his 3rd batter he's faced. Right-handers only hitting just .238 against Collins.
I think Casey Dunn just broke his chest protector there. There's the other catcher we talked about, David Ross, number 21, who's out right now with arm problems, and so he loans him his chest protector when we continue. Auburn has a couple of games left. They've got LSU, of course, tomorrow here at 1 o'clock, and then Columbus College on Tuesday. Then they close things out with their rivalry against the Alabama Crimson Tide, and that series will be played at Hoover Stadium over in Birmingham, I believe. No, is it at Hoover? Okay. So they'll get a chance to preview the facility where the SEC tournament will be held. Actually, they're playing Friday in Tuscaloosa, Saturday at Hoover, and then Sunday back in Tuscaloosa.
Two and one on Lanier. Nobody on. A couple of strikeouts for Collins, who's working as the 3rd Auburn pitcher today. And there's a fly ball down the right field line. Sullivan on his horse. Misplays it. It bounces into the Auburn or the LSU bullpen as it sliced foul, hit just inside the foul line and bounced into the bullpen, and a stand-up double awarded to Tim Lanier.
Well, that's a pretty tough play for a right fielder. It's slicing away from you, and you're trying to find the fence and the foul line, and Sullivan didn't take the best angle, kind of took his eye off the ball, it looked like, and then you see the ball just bounce over the fence. He kind of got lost where he was on the field, and when he took that little jag step backwards, that took out any chance he'd have to make the play.
Tough day for Sullivan out there. He's had an error earlier. Cost his team a run. That would have been the 3rd out had he been able to make that difficult play.
Skip Bertman has just called Casey Kuntz back to the dugout, and he's going to send up a pinch hitter. Jeremy Moore is coming up. Moore, the pinch hitter, senior out of Alexandria, Louisiana. And so Moore will get a chance to pinch hit for Casey Kuntz. Moore on the year is hitting .250. This will be his 43rd appearance of the year. He's got 12 hits on the year with 4 home runs, and so he's been productive when he's gotten a chance. 4 home runs and 9 runs batted in. And now he steps up to try and drive in another LSU run. Runner at second with 2 outs.
Also has 10 walks and 48 at-bats. Outside, Lanier at second base.
Look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
So Ole Miss has knocked off Mississippi State twice in Starkville. And it's been a disappointing season for Ole Miss, but those 2 wins against Mississippi State, that will help them carry them through the summertime and get ready for next fall baseball. The way that rivalry is in that state. So Donnie Kessinger's team comes up with 2 big wins this weekend.
Ground ball to first. An easy scoop. And that will set down the LSU Tigers in the top half of the 9th inning. Nice job by Ricky Collins in relief as the Tigers of Auburn will try to rally down by 6. Accommodations for this broadcast were provided by the Quality Inn University Center, located right next to the Auburn University campus, owned and operated by some Auburn alumni, and it's just been completely renovated and is now part of the Choice Hotels International. So if you're looking for a first-rate hotel, be sure to check in with the Quality Inn. Make your reservations. Call 1-800-228-5151. We move to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Auburn Tigers down by 6, looking to make things happen. As Russell Wittenberg steps in to lead things off, the number 9 hitter in the order. He'll be followed by Adam Sullivan and Rob McCrory. You know, if Shipp gets the shutout, it'll be the first complete game shutout by an LSU pitcher since May 13th, 1994. And Scott Schultz blanked Mississippi State 3-zip on a 3-hitter. Not to mention he had 16 strikeouts in that one. And there is Mr. Shipp. Fantastic performance today.
You know, Dave, they started the season off with back-to-back shutouts, shutting out Western Kentucky 9-0 and then 18-0. And they've had a bunch of them this year. You go, they beat shutout Tulane 10-0, shutout Vanderbilt 15-0, and again Shipp stays outside with that breaking ball, and he's just been almost untouchable out there.
Adam Sullivan next in line for the Auburn Tigers. Kevin Shipp's line has just been phenomenal today. I mean, 8 innings pitched, 8 1/3, 2 hits, no runs. There's a ground ball, or a line drive right over the head of Williams at short. So 3 hits now given up by Shipp, and Auburn's got a base runner. The first one, and
well, a fastball here. He hasn't thrown many in the hitting area, and Adam Sullivan is able to get one and get his first hit of the day. In fact, his first hit of the series.
First base runner in 14 batters that Shipp has faced. McCrory hit by a pitch, stole a base. 5 strikeouts for Shipp. Down low. 2-0.
This would be the 10th shutout this year by LSU pitching if they could get him, which is remarkable.
You know, that Mississippi State loss to Ole Miss really makes the series between LSU and Mississippi State a big one in Baton Rouge. Mississippi State needs to win tomorrow to keep pace with the Tigers. Right now, the way things ended with LSU winning this one, LSU would have a 3-game advantage over the Bulldogs in the Western Division standings. And there's a walk. Shipp with his first walk of the afternoon. Demouy warming up in the LSU bullpen. Roop to step in for Auburn.
Skip Bertman again checking his charts. They're never far away. Sure, he's hoping that Shipp can get the ground ball out. He's right at just over 100 pitches today. New second baseman in, by the way, Keith Palazza is down at Second base, there he is, number 1. Alazola. He came on to replace Casey Kuntz.
Ground ball, just foul.
What does that tell you about some of the depth on this team? That's their 4th second baseman they've had this year. So Skip Bertman's got some quality depth on this team.
He says he leaves a lot of guys back in Baton Rouge that could start for just about any other club in America. LSU in a good spot here, heading toward postseason play. Defensively, they can leave the game mentally. They had some errors last night. I believe they had 5 errors last night. But I think it's just a matter of the season winding on, and you lose some of your concentration. And once they get into the SEC tournament, the regionals, and then the World Series, if they can get that far, this team will button down the hatches and play some solid baseball.
Well, you know, we keep talking about how important the division is. And of course, what everyone wants to do is win a ring, and that's by winning the SEC championship. And that's the best overall percentage. And right now, LSU and Florida are tied. Both teams at 17-8. So that is actually winning the West, yes, is important, but winning the overall championship is the big thing. And LSU needs to win as many games as they can because the Gators are right on their heels.
Florida plays tonight at South Carolina. They beat the Gamecocks earlier. There's a fly ball into center field. And that's the second out of the inning as Kerner corrals it, and the runner stays at second. So Shipp now 1 out away from pitching a complete game shutout. Not an easy out in Josh Etheridge, however, 0 for 3 today. Etheridge came in hitting .337 with a .696 slugging percentage, 16 home runs, 73 RBIs, 16 doubles. And he's about to go for the collar unless he can pull something here.
The only time this year Auburn's been shut out, they lost at Vanderbilt 5-0.
There's a line drive to center field. Kerner on his horse. And he's got it. So a complete game shutout. A magnificent performance by Kevin Shipp of the LSU Tigers as he blanks the Auburn Tigers. The final score 6-0. As the junior from Pride, Louisiana, showed a lot of pride on the mound today as LSU wins. Back with to wrap it up right after this. A magnificent performance by Kevin Shipp of LSU as he throws 9 strong innings of shutout baseball to get the complete game win for LSU, who now improves to 41-11, 18-8 overall. Well, next week, SEC TV is proud to present some more Southeastern Conference baseball as we'll take our cameras to Baton Rouge and see this same LSU team battle Mississippi State in what should be a dandy. But the final score from here was LSU 6, the Auburn Tigers nothing. Back in a moment.
When it comes to college athletics, fan support can mean the difference between winning and losing. If you know of a student athlete that has an interest in your favorite school, make the right play. Contact the school's coaching staff. Athletic department officials are the only representatives allowed by NCAA regulations to participate in the recruiting process. Failure to follow
time in his midi nights against Auburn, and right now Bob Kessling is down on the field with perhaps the MVP of the game, pitcher Kevin Shipp.
I don't think there's any question about that. Kevin, congratulations on a great effort. Boy, you had command of the pitches today, didn't you?
Yeah, thanks a lot today. You know, I had all 3 pitches working, my fastball, my curveball, my change. I know I got I'm used to getting a lot of outs on my curveball, but today, you know, we changed up a little bit. We went in on our fastball, and I got a few 4 or 5, ground balls on fastball, and that helps me out a lot, and also the changeup. When you throw the changeup early in the count and they swing at it and pop it up or ground out, that keeps your, your pitch count down way low.
You were retired 15 in a row at one point. You know that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Is it fun when everything's working like it was today?
Yeah, it's great. You just go back and they come out, score 2 runs, then 3 runs, and you get up. You just can go out and just pitch your game and just come back and relax and just, when you got it, when you don't. And today, I felt real well. So.
Yeah, you've been bothered a little bit with a bit of a sore arm on a pitch count today, but it seemed like the arm is healthy and because you threw great today.
Yeah, that was about the first month of the season I was out for a while, but I've done had 5 starts and pitched, I think 3 complete games maybe already. So, I think it's back and it's ready to go.
The thing that was great, too, is how quickly you work. You get the ball within 5-10 seconds ready to go. Is that something you've always done?
Yeah, it is. that's just the way I pitch. And Coach always say he'll get you to the restaurant quick, after the game. And that's just the way I pitch. And, it's, I've been successful with it, so I'm going to stay at it.
Kevin, congratulations. Great performance today. Keep it up.
Thanks a lot.
Kevin Shipp, who threw the shutout today for the Tigers. Dave?
Thank you very much, Bob, and an outstanding performance all the way around by the LSU Tigers. Auburn struggled, just 3 hits, and they had 3 errors. 6 runs on 9 hits for the LSU Tigers as they pick up their 41st win of the season. Auburn falls to 30-21, 11-15 in the conference. And they same 2 teams will go at it again tomorrow afternoon to wrap up this 3-game series. Auburn down 0-2 thus far and still needs to battle to get to the SEC tournament. Next week, our cameras travel to Baton Rouge as Mississippi State will meet us there as the Bulldogs take on the Tigers, 3 o'clock Eastern. Check your local listings. Larry Connolly will join me, and we hope to see you then. But the story today was Kevin Shipp, 9 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, and a complete game shutout, the first in a long time for the LSU Tigers. So for Bob Kessling, Craig Ritchie, Tom Smith, I am Dave Neal saying so long from the plains of Auburn, Alabama, and we'll see you next week from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.